Well, this was a rather average heist thriller, with a lot of time spent on people watching screens and monitors for at least half the film. A lot of equipment that was used by the characters was very analog and homemade. There were some scenes that were very anticlimactic, and also some scenes that ended rather abruptly, especially the ending. What I did like was the fact that there were three storylines going on, with the police, the military, and also the thieves. What I would also say was the fact that there was some, shall we say, varied accent work, but on the whole, the performances were really good. I would rate this over about 50-50, and would also invite you to think about David Mackenzie's previous film, Hell on High Water. It had a lower budget, a better cast, and the film, I feel, was a lot better. Food for thought. So the film is about how a World War II unexploded bomb was been discovered on a building site in London, and the police, the military, everyone is called in to try and ascertain what this bomb is and how dangerous it is. And this is where we are introduced to Aaron Taylor-Johnson's character, Will Tranter, Major Will Tranter, who is responsible for trying to disarm it and dispose of it correctly. The police job is basically to evacuate the surrounding area and try and get as many people out of the surrounding area as possible, so that if the bomb does explode, nobody will get hurt. And this is where Theo Jones's character comes into play, who is hiding under the cover of the bomb and the cordon in this little apartment, which is above a bank, with his crew of thieves waiting for the all clear from the police to say that everyone's been cleared out. And under the cover of the cordon, that is when the thieves act and go for the diamonds in the bank and try and escape. And it's a cat and mouse game between the police and the military to A, disarm the bomb and make it safe, and also B, to try and capture and apprehend the thieves. It's an interesting idea. It's a good film with some great high chase sequences and some tense moments, especially when the thieves are hiding in plain sight and trying to get through the checkpoints in London to try and escape, and they're in their workman's outfits as part of their disguise to try and get them out, and they're not like screaming through the streets of London. They're literally being hiding in plain sight and driving through, and it's really quite intense in moments, as well as some intense moments with the bomb. But ultimately, when those intense moments hit their high point, it ends rather anticlimactically. You're sitting there wondering, like, is that it? And it just really was quite frustrating. Some of the accent work, like I say, was a little bit varied, and Aaron Taylor Johnson does his best to do his best northern accent, whilst Theo Jones struggles with the South African accent, which isn't easy. And you can tell that he's really trying hard to try and make it work, and is admirable. What I would say is Sam Sully Worthington and was widely underused in this. He barely had anything to do. He was part of the main thief gang who went in to get the diamonds and barely says a word, and spends most of his time chewing on his necklace. And whether or not that was a nervous tick or character beat, don't know. Uh, we don't really know much about him or the other thieves' storylines. They were just like placeholders almost. Some of the action sequences were a little bit woeful and probably could have done a bit better, especially when they are in the countryside and they are in a full-scale car chase where all they do is just drive around each other and that's it. It could have been a bit more explosive, no pun intended, and a bit more dynamic, where just driving around a car head on just didn't fill me with like any excitement whatsoever. it just felt a little bit flat in my opinion. On the whole though, the performances were good across the board from the actors, and it was well shot, and you see that, like, David Mackenzie is a really good director. Like, he did Hell on High Water, which I think is a better film, to be honest, because it had a lower budget as well, and the actors were better, I felt. But on the whole, it wasn't too bad. There were some aspects of the story that I thought were a little bit random that could have been explained a little bit earlier in the film, especially with the people that were displaced from the apartment above the bank. And if you've seen the film, you know what I mean. They're just randomly being escorted out, and camera early on spends a lot of time on them with no explanation as to who they are until you see the big reveal later on in the film. But like, it could have been explained a little bit sooner, and you're thinking like, who the hell are these people, and what have they got to do with the heist? What have they got to do with the bomb and the military, the police? Like, it just hits you more towards the end, and that's it. It's one of those abrupt scenes that could have been a bit more earlier on in the film. So I don't know. It's just my opinion. But like I say, overall, it's not a bad film. Like I say, about 50-50, I'd say, on this one. And I'll be interested to see what you guys think and how you compare it to David Mackenzie's other work, like Hell on High Water. So let me know what you think in the comments and chat of this latest offering from Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Theo Jones. And I shall see you in the next video. But also, please remember to like and subscribe. We are 2 away from hitting the 100 subscriber mark. May not mean a lot in YouTube world, but to me it means everything. So thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next one.